Welcome back, nerds. This is the Vagabond Nerds. I'm Jason. That is Sean, Ray, and Ziggy the Bored Wonder. Hello, guys. It's been forever since we've talked.
All of a sudden, I want to go play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Oh, wow.
Burn it down!
Like,
Well, while we sleep... Yeah, never mind. I'm done. I'm done.
welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
It's been a long 2 minutes.
It really has.
I think it was actually five.
Five.
It was
Did
actually
we
a full
actually do
5
five?
minutes. Yeah. I think it was a full 5
That's
minutes.
right. However long it took to empty bladders.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that imagery. So this week we're
Do you
talking...
want it? You want it more detailed?
No.
We can.
No. No.
No.
Oh.
So this episode, we're going to talk about Punisher Season 1 on Netflix. Again, spoilers. We are going to tear this thing apart. And so if you haven't
Not really.
Well, here's the problem.
Not as good as Stranger Things.
Well, there's less to tear apart. That's the problem.
I think there's
Yeah.
but we are gonna talk.
We're going to talk about it. So again, if you haven't seen it, then punch out now. If not, just get to sit here and listen to us.
Continue to watch at your own risk.
Exactly.
Once again, we're sorry.
Yeah. So, okay, Punisher Season 1, I think it's summed up as the Punisher kills people again.
Well, we get to delve into Frank.
Yes.
That's you get to delve into Frank Castle and why he is the way he is.
And more so than anything that we've seen before, whether it was Daredevil Season 2,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
any of the movies. This is a legitimate...
I mean, all that just hinted on it, but this is a full-on, like, okay, let's tell the story of Frank Castle. It's an origin story that contrary to the way we all tend to feel nowadays about origin stories, I think it was a good one, and I think it was necessary.
Yeah, in fact, I'm gonna confess to something here. I was worried about this one.
The third gunman in the grassy knoll?
Worried?
Yes.
Well, worried. What do you? Please elaborate. Yeah.
Because we already had such a great origin story for him in Daredevil Season 2. I thought, okay, so with the...
What origin in season 2? How was the origin? I'm sorry.
Of the Punisher. Of the
Right.
Punisher, right? Because we meet him as Frank Castle. He's out there killing people. He's doing the things. We learn about his family. We learn about the mental issues that he has because of the trauma. Hold on. And in the end of Season 2 of Daredevil is him with that vest, and he's spray painting the skull onto it. That was his sort of origin story, and that's really all you needed, because then he goes off, and what's the beginning of Season 1 here?
I understand what you're saying.
The Punisher.
It was almost the way they did. Okay, so it's much like the MCU did Spider-Man when they did Civil War.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the same kind of, and you felt, to you were like, that's a good origin story,
Right?
But
And
much like Spider-Man, they did go back and do Homecoming, where they kind of. They
flesh it out.
They fleshed it out more, and I think that's more what this one was.
Exactly.
They fleshed it out a lot more.
Exactly. That's my whole point. I was just worried because I'm like, why
All
are we doing another origin story for this
see-
guy? When we
I see
already
what you're
had
saying
it?
now. I see what you're saying.
I was worried that it was just going to be more of rehashing the same thing, and they didn't do it that way. They continued right where they left off, where he's going off. He's killing the people.
As the Punisher, which
as
is
the Punisher.
so genius.
Yes.
And what he's doing is he's going after everyone involved in the drug deal that killed his family, down to the last guy.
Yeah.
Which
really was
The last
guy. I love it. What I love is that may even be my favorite scene of the entire season. Is just him, like he's in Alabama. He's not just once that he's in Alabama. He's here, and then he shoots a dude
Across the border.
Across the border. Literally kills someone in a different country.
Yeah, from a different country.
Which is a really, really good homage back to the Nom series that he made an appearance in back with Marvel. Marvel ran a series called The Nom.
Yeah.
It was a war story. That's all it was. But what they ended up doing at one point was they ended up saying this is Vietnam in the Marvel universe,
right,
by having Frank Castle show up.
I understand.
When he was a sniper, because
Right.
originally he was a sniper with the Marine Corps,
Right, he was a sharp. Yes,
and so it was a nice little homage. It wasn't just he was special forces.
No,
he was
a
a
sniper.
Marine sniper.
Yeah.
So again, I like that. Like I said, my confession is I was worried about this season. Marvel again proved that whatever they put on Netflix is going to be gold.
Yeah, they knocked it out
brilliant.
of the park with this one again.
Jessica Jones, not gold. Sorry. Go, what were
So
we saying?
Jessica Jones was gold. It was just really too long, and so it got tarnished.
Yeah, it was about, 8 episodes too long?
No.
It was 4 episodes too long.
Yeah,
about 8
about
episodes
that.
too long.
About 4.
It's the only one I can't get behind.
I'd even give
I
it. I'd go so far as to be generous and say it was only 2 episodes too long. because it still wasn't bad. My favorite episode out of that whole thing was him buying the house.
Yeah.
Of when Jessica, but they should have done that much like the pacing in Stranger Things, which we reviewed 2 weeks ago. It could have been really good had they paced it better.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. I think Jessica Jones had a pacing issue. That's all. But anyway, so what was? I guess we all like. I'm assuming we all liked Punisher this go around.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I did. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
I think the fact that they actually took a really mature look at how our military is doing when they come home and they don't know how to disconnect from that life. And I thought the sub character. I can't think of his name.
Hold on,
Lewis Walcott.
Yeah,
Wilcott. Yeah,
Wilson.
No, it was Wilcott.
Lewis Walcott.
Walcott. Okay.
So that whole thing of, I mean, it was heart wrenching to see him not being able to sleep inside his house, dig in a trench.
It almost shot his father that one morning. Yeah, that was devastating to watch him go through this
because he doesn't know.
He can't fix it. Yeah, he just can't find peace.
And not only that, but even at the end of his story arc, where you see Frank talking to him, and Frank does not leave him. He knows he's about to die. He knows he's about to kill himself, and Frank's just like, good soldier.
Yeah,
go out, like you need to go out.
Yeah. But does Frank say that? Because I know
yes, he does.
He does say that.
He does,
because I know that Lewis says it to himself because he's repeating that mantra that his and I forgive me, either his sergeant or whoever taught him about living,
which is apparently a mantra that within that, I don't know if it's true or not within
I have no
real
clue.
life, but it is apparently something that Frank knew as well, and that's why you see him standing right beside him repeating what he is, because he's like, look, you did really stupid things, you have done, but because you are a brother in arms, I'm going to stay with you until this is done. Yeah, because he didn't leave, and he sent him off basically on what they would consider a soldier's death. Yeah. If you've reached your end, so this is how we're going to do it. So I really love that back and forth, because in his mind, he sees the Punisher as doing everything the right way, but he's going to go against people who he feels that's wrong. So that's the media, that's the 1%er, or the government, that he feels done him wrong.
He's fighting it back against the people that are paying him
regardless of casualties, regardless of who's in the way. And so to see that kind of unfold, I thought that was a really good. For a little bit at the very beginning, I didn't know how to take that. I was like, "Am I really want to get invested into the storyline? Are they going to play this out right?" But to see how they, continue to go. Yeah, it was done really well, and I really did appreciate that entire sub storyline that was going through, and it did bring something to the table, and also gave an additional inside look onto how Frank's mind, is working. What is he thinking at the time when all this goes down? So, I was really happy with that.
Yeah, I like that too. For me, I really liked the differences in their origin for Frank in this Netflix universe versus the comic book. Right. Specifically, I liked the fact that Billy Russo was his best friend. Yes. I loved that. I thought that was great. And I mean, the Punisher was one of the few comics, because I know we all, you guys much more so than me, right? Followed comics for a longer time. You guys just stuck with it longer than I did. But Punisher was one of those ones that I just got into immediately the first time I saw it, and just followed it for a long time. I still have a bunch of Punisher issues at home, and even his origin story is so dated. It's very dated. The mob boss, this witnessing his wife and his kids witnessing a murder in Central Park by the mob, and then Billy Russo coming and killing his family, and then him going off on a tangent and hunting down and becoming the Punisher and killing everybody else. It's believable, but it's also thin. It's a little thin. What they did here, establishing Frank's mental state, as you commented to earlier, right? Going through the motions with William Rawlins, using these guys as nothing more than death squads. And he's using their patriotism as a tool to go kill people who don't deserve to. I mean, it's just he's just killing people for no other reason than to facilitate his own ends.
And that may have actually been one of my favorite aspects of this entire show was they tied it wasn't some separate thing altogether.
Right.
As far as his family's death.
No, it all was
unified.
It actually lent his breakdown, and I think his subsequent mindset as it is now, it actually built it all up. And it wasn't just some little, oh yeah, okay, I get it. He's out getting revenge for his family. No, he's getting revenge for his family because of all this other crap that happened to him. The scene where he goes in, all right. So in Daredevil season 2, they call up what's his name on the stand, the general or whoever, his commanding officer. They call him to the stand, and he tells the story about how some guy almost lost his arm, and then he finally says, "Well, that guy was me." Well, they play that story out in this season of Punisher, and when they do, it is so visceral and it is so amazing to watch it happen. And the whole time I'm watching it, I just had my hand over my mouth like, holy crap, I can't believe this is happening. You know, Frank goes through and slaughters all these guys. Yeah. And he does so because he knows it's the only way to get his guys out of there. That's the only way to survive.
It's either that or they all die.
It's that or they all die, you know. And he didn't want to be there in the first place. Rollins threw him into it. And when he gets back, he decks Rollins so hard he knocks his eye out.
Genius.
Punches his freaking eye. I mean, it's
genius. And it's screwed for life.
Yes. Yeah.
That eye is never going to.
And that immediately sets up the antagonist of William Rollins throughout the whole rest of this show. Whereas Billy Russo is that side character, even though he's the lurking further depth of evil with Jigsaw,
which made it harder to watch him with Frank's kids.
Yes.
God, that was so bad.
Oh. Where you can tell that his kids genuinely love him.
Yeah.
And he's part of their family. They've adopted him where everyone else
did. Yeah, no one else did.
Didn't care about him.
But even though he is being taken in by them, he is such a psychopath that there's a small comment from Frank's son. Where he says, Billy Russo is like, well, they named me Billy after the kid, the fastest, Billy the Kid, the fastest guy in the West. And he goes, Billy, if you were adopted, how do you know that's who they named you after? And the whole family chuckles, and he's behind sunglasses, but he stopped, and he looked at that kid like, I would murder you right now if I could. I mean, you could tell that was.
But don't worry, in about another 5 minutes, it'll take care of itself.
Actually, I don't know that was the same day. Because he said he didn't. He said he didn't want to have any part of that, which was his own little, his tiniest little shred of humanity. Saying, Frank, I didn't want to go. I didn't want it to go down this way because he's just as evil as Rollins is.
Oh yeah.
The scene
probably more so.
Probably more so. The fact that he tracks down his mother, unfortunately his drug abusing mother.
And keeps her sedated.
And not only keeps her sedated, but keeps her on doses of heroin that he administers himself to show up. I mean, it's just sick. Yeah. Like, the level to which they went to show his character's utter, just, debased horribleness is just so... there are no words for this.
Which made the ending fight between him and Frank. One, you felt some pride with Frank.
A bit, yeah. Well, but more than a bit, actually a lot.
Doggone it, man. When he's pushing his face across the broken glass. And you hear him yell. It is, again, great acting. Because you can actually feel that that's exactly the screaming. You could feel the pain.
Yeah.
And it's a brutal scene. It's hard to watch.
It is.
It's a very hard scene to watch, but at the same time, it's a very justifiable scene.
Oh, it is.
Dude, the whole season is a build-up to the becoming of Jigsaw, which is weird because I didn't think about it until the last 2-3 episodes.
Yeah.
Specifically from episode 10 forward. So yeah, the last 2 episodes.
I didn't even get it when they were like, "Hey, it's Billy," and I was for some reason it just never clicked.
It didn't click in you. Yeah.
And when I finally realized, I was like, "Oh, holy crap, that's genius!"
Oh, dude, when he introduced himself as Billy Russo,
Yeah.
because I didn't know it was Russo
Yeah.
until he's introducing himself to Agent Madani
Yeah.
at Anvil, saying Billy Russo. I was like, oh,
yeah, and it was
this is
like,
gonna
"Oh crap!"
get good. And I didn't know where they were going to do it, but that at the end.
Yeah, I didn't even think they were going to turn him into Jigsaw. That was my thing. Is I figured it's sort of a
You thought just an homage to the
Right.
prior
Yeah.
storyline.
yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe they're just using him.
right. Because I mean, the name, the fake name that Castle uses at the beginning of the season is an homage to some other aspects of the comics. Which
Yeah.
there's no point in getting into. I'm just
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to go full Jigsaw. You're right. It's like this, sort of like how season 1 of Agents of Shield was the rise of Deathlock. This whole season of the Punisher wasn't the rise of the Punisher. It's the rise of Jigsaw.
It's the rise
Yeah.
of Jigsaw, and that was amazing. That drop there at the end like that, first off, as most people tend to watch a lot of these things in the evening,
yeah.
right, over dinner or maybe afterwards.
Yeah.
This is not a dinner show, and
At all.
and that was probably my biggest problem with it, is that I'm trying to watch this show because, one, I'm interested in seeing it, but the only time I have to watch this is in the evenings, and it's usually either right after we've had dinner or just before we're about to have dinner, and so it's like, oh, let's throw on an episode of, let's put on Daredevil at the time. We were like, well, let's watch this. We'll watch this. Well, now I'm like, well, let's watch The Punisher. And dude, three episodes in to The Punisher, we just finished it last night. And the reason is like 3 episodes into this whole thing, my wife and I, we cannot watch this while we're like, I can't watch this while I'm eating dinner.
No,
like,
you cannot.
There's too many people spitting up blood. There's too much. I mean, there's too much violence, and not only the violence, it's in such a disheartening amount of like backstabbing, brutal violence, and it's because these guys are being mentally beaten down by the government that they serve, and that plays into Lewis's character and everybody else. It was so hard to watch. It's much like Walking Dead. Trying to watch that, you can't binge watch it. You got to turn it off after a while.
You got to have a palate cleanser of some type. Usually it's a comedy.
Most of the time
I'll drop Futurama right after.
Comedians
Burn
in Cars
Notice.
Getting Coffee. That's what we
Yes.
started
Yeah.
doing,
Love
is
that.
Comedians in Cars. Now that it's on Netflix, we'll just pop over to that real quick and watch Comedians in Cars, because
I like that show.
it's a great
That's
show.
good. Another good palate cleanser is White Collar. If
You've
you
mentioned
it's a good show. But back to
We digress.
Punisher.
Right.
I do like the CIA connection to the drug ring, because it's still the same drug ring that killed his parents.
It
killed
is.
his family.
Yep.
It's just using their.
They're just using it differently.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those things that a lot of people know, but we don't really talk about, which is the fact that there is and this term has become popular over the last year, the deep state, where there are people who they get their financing, they have their own agendas, and they come to power basically as criminals. But they quote unquote serve us.
Right.
It's I'm making America safer. How are you making? How are you making America safer by running drugs into the country? There was a lot that was going on in this season. Like I said, you had the mental state of our vets. Are they being treated properly? And the answer to that is no.
Yeah, not at all.
Is the government doing what should be doing with them? No. Is our government and aspects of our government doing some really shady crap?
The only person who treated them the best out of all of it was Billy Russo.
Yeah.
Which was really
He's the
sick.
only one who treated the vets he gave them an opportunity to go out there and use the skills they had in a service that respected them in a way that they could feel proud of what they'd done. And it's so sick, like you said, and sad that you had Billy Russo leading that. It was effed up, man.
It was just crazy.
That's why it was so hard to watch. There's just so much of this like cringeworthy.
So I love what they did with Microchip and his development.
That was great. Had the van and everything.
And
Loved
if-
it.
and
Yes,
if-
loved it.
If Billy Russo's character is not in this show,
The next season, yeah.
no, I mean just in this season.
Oh,
If
you meant
if
okay. You're saying hypothetical.
If he was not
I
in this
understand,
season,
yeah.
then that most important character outside of Frank could go straight to Microchip.
Micro,
Yes.
yeah, Micro
Because his arc was also, again, heartbreaking.
very.
Watching him seeing his family
fall apart
without him.
Yeah, he has to sit there and watch it.
And he
didn't have to,
he didn't
but
have
he
to
was going to keep tabs
because he
on
wanted
him.
to make sure that
They
they
were
were
okay.
safe, but at the same time, knowing that, and I think that was like the hardest thing for him, is knowing that he couldn't, like he just wanted to go and hold his son, play with us, and just couldn't.
How many times? Yeah, I mean, how many times through the series did we see him get up and either drive over there, or he walks up one time on Frank and him playing football? Yeah.
And he's like, "You have to go."
Yeah.
But then, and to watch him, for Micro to watch Frank and his wife interact, that was painful.
Yeah.
And not. And blame him, but not blame him.
Yeah, he understands.
It was really I get it. And Frank is such a guy, which I really do love that they did in the series, where he's still so hung up on his wife.
Yeah.
That he has no...
The closest moment... You're right. He has no interest in Micro's wife whatsoever. The closest moment we see to him is him and Karen Page in that elevator after he's just saved her from Lewis, and she's helped him escape by pretending to be his hostage. There's that moment when they put their foreheads together and almost, it's like their noses touch for a minute, and you could almost see them moving on to like a kiss, but it doesn't happen, and that's...
I kind of want to see where that storyline goes, because...
Him and Karen Page?
And it's so hard because Karen Page is such a fixture of Daredevil and his mythology that I don't know if you want to sit as a comic book fan. I don't know if I want to see that connection between her and Frank, as much as I want to see it between her and Matt.
See, and I don't want to see it as much between her and Matt. I like the fact that Matt has actually gone off from that moved on towards Elektra. Yeah, because that's such a staple in itself.
Yeah,
him and Elektra, and I mean, she could be dead, but just like Matt was saved, she might be alive. Yeah. Who knows? Right? But I don't know. I think I was actually more intrigued to see the Karen Page aspect played into Punisher.
I think that's what bothered me the most, though, was because, again, going as a comic book fan, I know what I want to see.
Yeah.
But as a fan of the show, I'm like, oh my god, you gotta go this way.
Plumb these depths hard, and I don't mean that in any other way.
That sounds a lot dirtier than what you meant it.
Yep. There.
Well, that's the thing about his relationship with Karen Page that I really liked. Yes, the plums.
Feel it, my plums. All right, go.
I think I'm done for that.
No, please.
Plum fondling.
Isn't this his relationship with her? It's her relationship to him, which is she has a much more honest relationship with Castle than she does with Matt.
She did, and she was never misled from the beginning. She never misled. She knew exactly who Frank was, and she championed him.
But the thing is, she's more honest with her, about her dark side with Frank than she ever is with Matt. She's trying to hide the fact that she's murdered at least one guy.
I think that's the Catholicism that takes over in that relationship.
I'm just saying. But I'm just saying it's.
Speaking as somebody who understands that aspect of life.
And that may be the case. I'm just saying her relationship with Matt, there is this wall because
they keep it bottled.
They keep it bottled because he's at least up until now been trying to keep her away from Daredevil, and she's trying to keep him away from the sins of her past, which we don't even know what she's done when she left where she was.
Yeah. Well, no, we don't.
Whereas with Frank, she's not hiding anything.
Well, she clearly has all the inner demons that she's dealing with. I think a good portion of those stem from, being framed for murder, first off.
Yeah.
Right? And then second, kidnapped and actually killing somebody.
Yeah.
And I think she never thought she could do that. She was totally terrified of it. And it's not that she did it, and it's not that it's the right thing to do, but I mean, she saved herself.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she understands Frank. And since she was never misled by Frank to begin with, they've had the understanding from the get-go. I mean, their first big interaction, besides him trying to take shots at the mob guy through the hospital, when they're running away in Daredevil in season 2, is her interrogating him, so to speak, over a table as his not attorney, but his paralegal for the attorneys. Yeah. So and everything's out on the table there to begin with. I mean, and, no pun intended. They sit down, and she lays it out, and he lays it out right for her because he's a straight shooter, and you're right.
He's not going
to... Again, no pun intended.
No pun intended. They really do have a deeper connection than
to each other.
Her and Matt do.
Yeah.
Much more so. Yeah.
And the fact that she's using... And one of my favorite parts is she is comparing him to Lewis the entire time, and there is that underlying story of where she's talking to him about Lewis And basically, she's like, are you really certain that you are always the good guy in this situation?
Oh, right. When they're standing out on the pier or wherever it is, and they're talking to each other. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
There's a lot of that, which kind of leads me to. There was a moment where I wasn't. At first, I was like, where are they going to go with this? With the whole PTSD and with Lewis, this vet becoming, this sort of anti-government.
Yeah, because it's a slow burn with that storyline, and you're vested, but you're like, what does this have to play into?
Yeah, right. Because again, not to necessarily get political, but it's like they specifically use a pressure cooker bomb.
Yeah, he does.
Yep.
Which is.
Once again, hard to watch. When I saw him putting that thing together, I was like, oh, man, this is not good. Like, it made me feel really...
It's queasy.
It makes you queasy. That's a good... That's exactly it. This entire season had so many of those inside stomach-churning moments that's part of the reason this is so hard to deal with,
Yeah.
And,
so I was... part of me was like, man, are they really going to go this way? Because we don't... let's face it, those are the people putting together... bombs and blowing crap up.
Yeah.
But then they come back around and here's this traditional, anti-gun, wealthy advocate. And they give you at least both sides of the story. Like,
they do.
It's not this, here's, this anti-conservative. It wasn't an anti-conservative or pro anything. It was just reality. It's you do have soldiers going out there to do the right thing. And yes, we do have some assholes in the CIA and in our government who are using those wars to get rich and to kill people in our streets because they're importing these drugs through criminal organizations here. And yeah, some of these people are having problems. We do need to keep track of them. There are people doing horrible things, but at the same time, this guy over here who says he wants to take all your guns away.
Well, not necessarily. He even said it's not that he wants to take everybody's guns away. It's he wants to keep guns out of the hands of the people who don't deserve them.
Right. And, of course, he's the one who gets to determine that because he's the one buying the expensive bodyguards.
He's paying for Anvil.
And
Karen,
which is a genius line from Karen.
Yeah.
I feel safe. Really?
Yeah.
Looking around at the bodyguards.
He's like, I feel safe and confident that I'll be. And she's like, I bet you do. Kind of the whole paying for bodyguards. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's. I like the fact they presented. It wasn't like they weren't even making a message. They were just saying this is the world we live in.
Yeah, it's reality.
It's the reality.
It's
and
reality
that's, like I said, that's where. And once they got to that, I was okay with it. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
You're just telling an overall story.
Yeah.
And more so than anything else, the Punisher has shown us. The really not just the dirty aspect of the Marvel universe, but of our world.
Yeah, it did. It really pulled reality into Marvel in a very sobering way.
Yeah, and I love that episode that you're talking about when she's sitting down because that is told from like 3 or 4 different points of view, which is the best.
That is my favorite episode out of it. It's episode 10, and I when we were watching it, and I was like, I even said, "Honey, what episode is this?" Like I had to remember that specifically because I loved that aspect of this, and that was my favorite of this entire series. And the fact that you have he's now Detective Brett from Daredevil.
Yep.
Because he was like Sergeant or something.
Yeah.
Brett.
Yeah.
And now he's Detective Mahoney or whatever it is. Is it? Yeah, Mahoney. He's Detective Mahoney.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there interviewing all the different people involved, and as he's interviewing them, they're all giving their own stories. And he's a senator? Was he a senator?
Senator, congressman, something like that.
A congressman or a senator, whatever he was. His story was just the worst. I mean, the worst thing ever. He basically paints himself as picking the gun up and running away, saying, "I'm going to go get help."
Yeah.
And Karen even says, "Is that what he told you?" And I mean, then we see what he really did. He cowered and whined and cried, and Karen begged for his life.
Yeah.
And said, "Don't kill him, don't kill him." And then what does he do? Stands up and runs with her and pushes her
out of the window.
Into Lewis.
Yeah.
Just here, take her. And then he runs past, still crying and screaming.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't get more slimy, skeezy, sleazy, want to punch him in the face, maybe give him a trip down the magic stairs guy, I just hated that guy. Yeah, it's trip down the magic stairs.
Trip down the magic stairs.
I couldn't stand that guy. But that was a great episode.
It was a great episode.
The way Tarantino-esque, as it were, being told from so many different aspects.
The bottom line for me on this is it was great. And Marvel again has I'm getting to a point to where I'm tired of loving Marvel as much as I do.
But you know,
because I want to love other stuff.
Apparently, there's a bunch of people who agree with
that,
you.
Apparently they are.
So are we saying this is a good segue? Is that what we're saying?
I would say my own personal this was the hardest one to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm even going to put that over Jessica Jones, but not because of the reason that Jessica Jones was hard to watch.
No, that's because that sucked.
That was boring.
Yeah.
That got boring after a few episodes. But this was hard to watch because of how close to home it hits.
Yeah.
It's very realistic and it's very poignant in its own way.
They did a very... If they put 1/10 of the effort into the upcoming Black Panther to talk about the social issues that are developing today as they did the Punisher, then you know you've got another Marvel success on your hands coming up. But this is certainly one of their strongest television series.
Yeah.
I feel. In quite some time. And
I would agree with that. In fact, I'm going to say something. One of the ongoing sort of conversations we have behind the screens or behind the camera.
Behind the cameras?
Yeah, behind the cameras. Is, and I've stated publicly, I didn't like the fact that we've got an M rating on Daredevil or Jessica Jones or Luke Cage.
But why do you not like that again?
Well, hold on.
What's your concern? Is it's not the violence. It's the fact that
my kids can't watch it.
It's
kids can't watch it.
It's not that. It's the fact that it's what did you call it? Softcore pornography? Is
yes,
that what I remember you mentioning?
Stop. we're trying to cap this off. I'm just saying I think that hold on, both the violence and the sexual content.
But that's not what you complain about first. You complain
on.
about the fact that you see a woman from behind wearing a bra. That is softcore pornography. The fact that you complain about that over the violence is my problem because
and I have complained about the violence in the movie.
I don't think he was going to go back there.
An activity that sex, an activity that breeds life, right? That is a beautiful thing between two people is a problem. I forget who it was. Somebody said it was a comedian that I like to watch. He goes, "Yeah, you gotta cut all the." No, that's what it's. Doug Benson. He goes, "I was watching Kill Bill on TV the other day, and they bleeped out all these things." He says, "There's one part where it's the Buck. My name is Buck, and I like to F, right?" And he says they didn't bleep that scene out. They just changed it from "My name is Buck, and I like to party." And that's what he says. And they're like, the bleep was so horrible that I couldn't get over it. He goes, but they left that scene in. But then they had to take, he goes, but they took all the other words out of it. But you can leave her lopping off 88 arms of all these other people because, oh, God forbid someone hears the word shit, but let everybody watch them kill all these people and that's my problem. I understand you still harp on the violence, but your first harp is on the fact that there's pornography. It's not pornography, man.
I don't think you were going to go there this time, though.
No, I was just going to say, where I don't like the fact that these others have an M rating because I think that they are good. They would have better messages for teenagers again because of the issues they deal with. I don't mind this needed to be what it was because this was meant for adults to deal, like I said, to deal with those broader issues that we need to as a society.
You just spent
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Going
Solid
off
2 minutes.
on something that I knew. I was like, he's phrasing this differently. He's not going to go the same route. Let me tell you what I don't like about your and your MA rating.
No. It's the fact that it's the complaint about the first complaint that you have towards the M rating on the other shows is that you are complaining that there is softcore porn, and it is not. It is far from it.
Now, the irony to this statement is, on this one, the only thing I had, I'm not saying it was a problem, it just kind of took me out. Like, I didn't need to see the relationship building between Billy and the FBI agent.
Madani?
Madani, go that far. I mean, like, if they were already starting to do that one, and not because I'm against that, it's because if that felt a little bit forced, just a little bit. I know that they were trying to build that trust between them before Billy becomes Billy, right? But it was like, you could have not gone that detailed, but whatever. It's a minor gripe, minor complaint. But I think to your point, Jason, this one earns the MA. It should be MA.
There's absolutely no way this could be anything less than that.
Yeah,
and it has to be.
Because of what it's addressing. This is not a superhero story. This is a story about us.
Yes.
In our society, whether we like it or not. and it asks some really hard questions, both of society and of the viewer themselves. Like, what are you like? You see the Punisher as the hero, but is he really the hero of this story?
Right. It's a huge social commentary, and it's about some very deep, dark points, and they're prevalent still in our society. And it's hard to watch because of the reality of those aspects of our lives, and see it on TV like that, and you're just like, man, this is rough.
Yeah. So on that, back to people who hate Marvel. So Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So what we talked about Rotten Tomatoes a month ago?
A month ago.
We touched on it a month ago
about their influence, and here we have.
Would you call it a campaign?
It was a campaign on Facebook.
Wait, Facebook or Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, no, it started on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
To use Rotten Tomatoes against Marvel. Now, the initial theory here is you've got 30,000 like-minded people that are out there saying, "Hey, we feel that Marvel has tainted Rotten Tomatoes and, all the critical reviews and everything else against DC. We legitimately think that there's a plot out there to destroy these DC movies by ruining their scores."
Yeah, so DC's doing a better job of that than Marvel ever could.
Exactly right. But let's
continue.
You couldn't have said that better, sir.
Jeff Johns, if you're listening for some stupid reason, work on that, will you?
Fix that, buddy.
Yeah, just give me a call.
Get on that.
Just give me a call.
Give us a call. We've got ideas. But their idea is we're going to take the next movie that they do, which happens to be Black Panther, and we are going to sabotage.
Through bad ratings on Rotten Tomatoes.
So Rotten Tomatoes, of course, comes out and says, guys, look, you're not going to do this. If we see anything untoward, if we see you trolling, basically, we're going to shut your shit down pretty quick. So just heads up on that. You got to watch what you're doing, people. It's, pick if you're going to spend this much time, getting to do something because you're so passionate, pick something that freaking matters in life.
Yeah, exactly.
This is so stupid. Look, I love DC. I love the movies. But I'm sorry, Marvel's just doing it better. That's not the fault of Marvel or any of its fans. Just because critics want to love this more, that's done better. Yeah. Sorry, I hate the fact that DC can't really get anything outside of Wonder Woman, or if we go back to the Nolan series of Batman. But that's not on them. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's not on them.
Yeah, has spent 10 years building a brand, and you know what? Even if you have some movies, like you could be argued that Thor 3 was not as strong as say some of the others.
Thor what?
Hold on. I said it could be argued that Thor 3 wasn't as strong as
I liked
it. I thought it was. We're not having this conversation. I'm saying
I did make that argument that it was not as strong, and that was my thing.
Remember in the previous episode where we talked about opinions? Yours does not matter when it comes to
doesn't.
That.
Look, I still, once again, like he said, he liked it. I still liked it, but of the three, I think it was probably one of the weaker.
Right, but it's still got. But look at how much the critics
did a good job.
It did a good job.
It did a great job. It pleased the masses.
And so I think, and even the critics liked it as well. And so that's the whole thing. Is they're like normally, which I think is where a lot of this conspiracy theory is coming from. They're like, but why are all the critics loving it? There must be being paid off. No, Marvel spent 10 years building this thing. That even the critics are like, we can't.
Well, they do have good backers. Right, yeah. From Disney, they've got a great backer, and that's something that I don't think DC has. I mean, the WB's great, and Fox. I mean, they're great, but they're just not as big as Disney. And I think some other people have too many. There's too many hands in the pie. They're all trying. A lot of those movies, the DC movies, suffered from what appears to be a lack of clear direction.
Yeah, lack of clear direction, overproduced.
Yeah,
too many damn producers there in that.
And that's where Marvel has done it, and they've done it well.
They've done a great job.
And the thing is,
they trust the director, they trust the producers. They hand it over and say, "We've picked you for this reason. We're committing to this reason. We want you to go with it."
Exactly, and everyone is viewing them they're no longer viewing like Thor 3 is not seen as just one movie. It is viewed in the scope of the broader Marvel story.
I like your broad strokes of.
Pretty trees.
Yeah.
Happy trees.
Jazz hands.
So, but yeah, and so, yeah, I think Disney was brilliant to come out and not only go to Rotten Tomatoes like, y'all get this shut down.
Yeah.
But, it was, I don't know. I think the fact is we live in a world where I don't think we can trust people with things anymore. I mean.
The fact that Rotten Tomatoes came out and told said something to the fact of, we're not going to let you guys do this.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better about them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still not a big fan of their site because it does pull those reviews from just anywhere and from plain people.
It's got more power than what it should.
It does. I think it has the gravity of its influence on people who may enjoy a movie is bigger than it should be. That's that thing. The influence that it has over people. Now, maybe that's not its fault. Maybe that's the person. Maybe the person shouldn't be as influenced by that site as they should be more open-minded to go watch something. But it is. I mean, it sucks. I think it kind of sucks that it has that effect on people, and I think that's my problem with it.
And I think a perfect example of what we're talking about is while you're talking, I just got the mind, The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. I just saw that film. A couple weeks back.
Heard it was good.
It is amazing.
Yeah. Everyone I've talked to has said that's been one of the better movies.
But what's its rating?
Its Rotten Tomato score is 55%.
Yeah. So it's only a half.
And yet of the Google users, 95% like the movie.
Right.
And let me tell you how good this is. My wife, who just doesn't buy anything unless it's ever just like on sale, and she'll wait for it to go for a year, then she's
a smart shopper.
Yeah. She's like, as soon as this movie comes out, I want to own it. And she that's how
she
good
likes
this,
it. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's cool.
I'm going to be honest. I think it may have been the best movie of the year that I saw in the theaters.
Right.
Yeah, it is an amazing movie, and yet here we are with Rotten Tomatoes with 55%.
That's why it's not a good. It's not a good
indicator of what you're going to.
Yeah.
But here's the worst part is, as far as its power, all I did was look up The Greatest Showman. I scroll down and I have the IMDb score, I have the Rotten Tomato score, and I have Roger Ebert.
When I go on to Fandango, if I want to buy my tickets, I see the score that Rotten Tomatoes gives on their website when I'm buying my ticket. I mean, if that's not kind of an influence of like
iTunes.
I have no idea about iTunes. What's iTunes? What is iTunes?
Right.
I have a Samsung and it works great.
I'm sorry, yours is crappy. But iTunes, Vudu, My Movies.
Oh, the Vudu is that?
Yeah.
All of them have the related scores now.
Related scores.
So
Vudu,
I don't blame, and I've come to this conclusion. I don't blame Rotten Tomatoes.
No, I don't.
It's got nothing to do with them. They are just hosting something that everyone's just bought into. Now, again, like
saw an opportunity.
Yeah,
they filled a niche.
Yeah,
I mean, and they did it well. They're doing a good job, obviously, because it's spread out everywhere.
Yeah, so cool, good on them. But certainly
much like in Stranger Things 2, where it goes all the way underneath the town.
That's right, man.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
What did we do 2 weeks ago? Talk about Stranger Things?
Yeah, I think we talked.
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
Yes, and we talked about it with Wonder Woman and Godzilla,
and
John
Gollum.
Candy.
Gosh, I can't.
I really wish we could have
Sorry,
aired that.
I know. I'm
episode.
sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Dude.
just for y'all, he was sick last episode,
Yes.
or the 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
He was sick, so we had.
I called in.
He called in. And unfortunately, this is why we couldn't air it. Was because for whatever reason his sound did not carry through. That we could hear him.
Yeah, the technical difficulties.
That was our best episode
Disallowed.
ever.
It was our
I'm sorry
best
you guys didn't
episode
get to hear
ever. It really was because every time
I wasn't here. I wasn't physically here. It was the best.
But every time he
episode
spoke, we put up a picture of different people, including Linda Carter as Wonder Woman,
Gollum.
Baby
Gollum.
Gollum,
Baby
John
Godzilla.
Candy. There was a few other people.
We had some
It was
other stuff, and it was just.
brilliant. I wish y'all.
I have to say, the
really wish y'all
fact,
could've seen
that
it.
it would have been John Candy, that made me feel the best about it. I was like, that is so. I feel gracious.
You really do look
You
like a
guys would have
skinny.
put John Candy up.
And we did go with Baby Godzilla rather than Godzilla.
Well, that's I have
so.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm not a full-grown Godzilla. There's no way.
No, you just a little baby Godzilla.
Just a little baby Godzilla.
Okay, real quick. Does anyone have any? Since all we're doing are remakes now, apparently, is there anything anyone would like to see rebooted?
Well, so all right, that's a great.
Do we have enough time for that today?
I think
we do, and I think we do. I think that's a good idea. Now, I would say not just reboots, but I would say remakes, reboots, but also possibly. Well, okay, so yeah, the remake or the reboot's kind of the same deal.
Yeah,
but a reboot could be, the jumping off point in a universe that got closed out too early, but still has room for growth.
Yeah.
So I would say
still kind of a continuation,
right? Like a continuation of the series in that vein. So
yeah, I think the only real rules of this is it can't have been remade in the last 50 since 1999.
Well, I'll say
no. I think Ziggy's got a good one.
I wouldn't say rules, or I wouldn't give it a don't give it that. Just
Okay,
give it whatever.
I think mine might be the most recent, and the only reason I bring it up is because I heard this idea a couple weeks ago on a podcast that I like, and I want to see it so bad. If I had to pitch Christopher Nolan to come back and do one more Batman, like forget The Dark Knight Rises and just come back, do a Batman, do the Riddler, but like you're grounding the Joker grounding the Joker as a terrorist. Do the Riddler, but the Riddler is just the Zodiac killer.
Ooh,
Interesting. That could be cool.
I want to see that.
I heard that, and that makes so much sense, and I'm so jealous that I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that'd be nice and dark too. I mean, that would be great. No one pull that off easily.
Oh, he could, yeah.
Crap, okay.
Yeah,
well,
get a good
that almost just beat mine.
Yeah.
Also, remake Night of the Demons.
Yeah.
Z, go home, you're drunk. Okay, so Sean, what would be your favorite reboot?
Well, I kind of have two. There's two things I'd like to say. Now, if I was talking about a re-injection to a series that I think closed itself out and not a reboot, it's just
like
let's place a new story, a new instance in this universe. I would like to see something happen in the Firefly universe. I think Joss Whedon's Serenity and Firefly was such... I mean, Firefly itself was canceled, too young, obviously. But I don't want to see them go back and do that. I don't want to see Firefly on TV. I don't want to see that again. But I want to see something set in that same universe. I think that universe alone had such a good richness. It could be drawn on and played on. I think that'd be really great. But as far as an actual remake of a movie, I've got a bunch, but I think the one I would still really love to see, based on the fact that we've come so far with technology, we've come so far with movies that we can do so much. I'd really like to see the Guyver redone.
It really hacks me off that I didn't think about that,
because I would love to see, and I don't want to see I don't want to see
an Americanized version.
No, I don't want to see an Americanized version. I mean, I want to see a good version of the Guyver. I don't want to have some big name star slapped into it unless you get somebody really good to fit that part. But I would love to see more true to the manga series. I would like to see the Guyver. I would love to see that redone, and just in as brutal violence as it was in those originals. I mean,
that was
verging on an NC-17 rating based on the violence alone.
Yeah,
because that's how serious that. I mean, given me, look, I know it's stupid. I'm like, it's all it does. It was for me as a kid. I was like, this is so cool seeing this crazy ass anime being as violent as it was, because I was like, this is more realistic, and this is neat to see a cartoon in this sense. But the movie itself, like I was so thrilled to see a live action, and then it just didn't deliver.
I mean, the second one was better.
It was,
but you're right. I mean,
the dark hero.
The dark hero, whatever. Yeah. But like again, the anime where I think it was Gregor, where he grabs him by the face and just crushes the face, and the blood is just pouring.
It was, and that was true, more true to the mangas. But I would love to see, and that was the thing for me when I say violence. I'm not talking just about. I'm not saying gory. I'm saying it was a violent movie. It was a violent comic, all right? And I wouldn't mean, like, you could even take some of the, you can make violence without it just being bloody.
Yeah.
So I would like to see something a little more true to it, and I would love to see it given a good script and given a good reboot.
And a good choreographer.
Right, good because it has a lot to offer. I mean, that whole premise, you know, once again, I love a symbiote. We were talking.
There we go.
I love symbiotes, and that's what this is. It's an armor that's a symbiote inside of you that comes out, and it's just, I thought that was just cool. Yeah. It's a great premise, and I think we could totally do that again.
I would love to see that. Raymond?
What do you got, man? You go first.
Me? I would like to see the DCEU rebooted, so I don't have to keep defending it every movie.
Didn't you just say nothing?
I know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, any reboots in the last 10 years. But, okay, honestly, I think my thing is a continuation as well, because let's face it, everything's been rebooted that I care about or redone. And it is the Babylon 5 universe. The Crusade, I think where Crusade and Legend of the Rangers went wrong is they weren't as direct. I think the problem is Babylon 5 was this great sort of overarching view of the universe and empires and the rise and fall of these kingdoms and political organizations. I would like to see Bruce Boxleitner, who was John Sheridan, and Mara Furlan, who was Delenn. They got married. I want to see, they had a child who went and joined the On LaShock. And he was in the On LaShock training when Sheridan went off to go be presumably picked up by the Vorlons and taken off to the rest of the universe. Or he died, one of the two. I would like to see a story about him as this just kick-ass On LaShock running around the galaxy, righting wrongs, espionage, but and when you show this, and show the universe that way on a more ground level, but not have this big ensemble cast like they tried to do with Crusade.
Right.
Make it about him going and meeting different people, interacting. You can have recurring characters, but let him be somewhere, deal with new people, new universes, new problems. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
It's a great universe. It was one of the best sci-fi shows of really and most influential of the last 30 years. So I'd like to see that.
Cool.
Raymond?
And as a TV show, right?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll probably get flack for this one, and it's being done, actually. Like, they already are.
Okay, I think I know what you're about to say, but go for it.
I'm going to go with The Crow.
I know
Yeah.
what you were going to
Okay.
say. Yeah, my wife and I were talking about it this morning.
And the reason is because I love Brandon Lee's version. Don't get me wrong. That
Yeah,
one that
I
I grew
can't-
up on, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
But I want something closer in line with the book because there was so much passion
Right.
and so much heart in that book that they didn't have in the movie. The ongoing conversations between him and the Crow legitimately trying to get him to cross over to that side. If there's anything I would love to see translated on the big screen is the communication and the talk that the Crow, as he's dying,
Oh, yeah.
the Crow is literally in the book
He's
telling
trying
him
to guide him.
Don't look.
Yes.
Don't look. You're
Yeah.
going to look at this, and it's not worth it. You're almost home.
Yeah.
And he's telling him just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Don't look at what's going on because she will be home soon too.
Right.
And it's this impassionate entity telling him,
Pleading with him.
please don't
come
do
over.
this
Please
because if
cross
you
over.
don't,
Yeah.
this is going to basically stain your soul if you continue to watch this. I want to see that translated in a big screen fashion. I don't think we're going to get that with Jason Momoa's Crow
Probably
reboot.
not.
I hope we would.
It would be nice.
I would love to see it, but if not, I want to see that redone in that fashion so that it can talk more about what happened in the book. And what you realize is it's even a more sympathetic character that Eric Draven is because you realize some of this stuff was he did to himself.
Well, so I don't think it's bad that you want. I don't think you should catch flack for that. I don't think you should catch flack for wanting to see that because the first one, while being it's one that I still love.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But it is. It's kind of a love
own thing.
Well, it's a love rooted in the time that I saw it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's a moment movement. It's a moment movie. At the time, it's dated. You watch it and it's still good. It still holds up, but you can clearly see these influences from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt about, the black he's all dressed in like black tape and the thumb, the stuff around your hands so your thumb's stuck out. How many people cut their shirts, and put your thumbs through the long sleeve? I mean, that was just like it's this very specific 1990s movie and I would love to see it as you would want to see it more towards the book.
Ziggy?
I do have a real one though, guys. I think we might have talked about this on the show before, but now that Disney for sure owns Marvel, it's going to be great. Who Framed Slapstick?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think we did talk about that.
We did talk about that.
Who framed Roger Rabbit, but do it with slapstick.
Yeah, do a slapstick movie instead.
Yeah. Actually, they could never introduce him into the Marvel universe, could
Probably not.
I think they could.
What,
now?
Yeah.
Now I think they could. Now maybe they don't do it. Maybe they don't do it as a live action.
I was going to say,
but an
didn't I
animated
see
feature?
somebody? Maybe I just saw somewhere someone else was talking about this exact same deal online. I read something somewhere about mentioning the fact that they would love to see slapstick again, and they had stills and pictures of it. So maybe I saw it somewhere.
Hand drawn animation,
right?
And then sell it over the film. I think it'd be great.
Yeah,
and they have the money.
Yeah,
let's not.
Yeah,
I just have
Disney
to wonder.
has all the money.
Just have to wonder if the characters, the live action character, would lose their mind as much as the guy playing in Roger Rabbit lost his. Yes.
Oh yeah.
He said he was talking to Roger Rabbit for like the next 3 years after that movie. He said nobody would be around, and he was like, I'd still be talking to myself. Because he had to imagine them there. And so he was talking out loud to all these characters that were never around, and he said it just influenced the rest of his life. He had to go to therapy to get him to stop doing it.
Can you imagine, slapstick going up against Thanos?
It would be great. That's one of the cameos we're going to get in May.
I sure hope so, man.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I don't know that they could pull it off. That'd be awesome.
We're almost...
We're getting Squirrel Girl, so I mean...
Yeah, why not, right?
Why not?
We're almost done with this episode. I will say, in the past 2 weeks, we had a ton. It seems like a ton of freaking trailers just dropped.
Yeah, there were a lot.
Solo. We had
Venom.
We had
Infinity War.
Again, it was like another.
Out of all the trailers I saw, the one that surprised me the most and that intrigued me the most was the new Jurassic World.
Really?
It didn't seem. It felt more like a horror flick watching the first.
It was like a horror flick. That's
what are we
true.
watching? Like, what is
That's
this?
true, yeah.
So now whereas in before I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go see it. It's Jurassic World.
You're really looking
now I'm like,
forward to
holy
it.
crap! Now I really want to go see this.
Ant-Man.
And Ant-Man's trailer.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah,
that
was good. I'm more interested in the Venom. I really am because I'm glad they're finally giving a movie that character is due. I know that it was Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And it's just throwing him in there at the end. They were trying to build him up, Eddie Brock and everything, and then it's like
overproduced.
It was overproduced. They had too many people messing with it.
Spider-Man
and
3, aka Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
It's weird to think that the gang leader from RoboCop was just going to come on screen and start yelling at his son.
That's
randomness.
Bye, Bob.
That was actually really, really funny, and I just hate the fact that it came out of your mouth. Okay,
that's what she said.
I think I think it would be kind of nice to maybe every once in a while revisit the idea of a reboot, a quick 15-minute reboot discussion.
What would you like to see?
Oh no, not right now. I just mean further down the road. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What would you like? Yeah, what would you like to see? I think also it'd be kind of fun if we had a few people writing in. Yeah. Commenting on Facebook, let us know what you might like to see. Maybe we can chat about that. See what we can pull out of the woodwork.
Send us your script pitches, and I will bunk them.
We will absolutely steal them.
Yeah,
take them as our own.
No, I'd love. Yeah, so I think we should. Revisit this topic again on a few different shows.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's us.
It's time to wrap it up.
So, guys, it's been real. We'd like to thank DallasOnAir.com for having us and putting up with us. We'd like to thank Ziggy, the board wonder, and for everyone watching us, you can find us on Facebook at Vagabond Nerds. We are also on YouTube and DallasOnAir.com. So tune in next time.
Gmail.
Oh, Gmail. Yeah.
Yes, we are at vagabondnerds@gmail.com.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah. Catch you next time, guys.
Have a great